Welcome back, session 28. I'm going to share the screen and get right to it. Today's exciting session, we're going to ask Chatgdp 5 random questions and go with the answers so people can be more familiar with the stock market. So I asked it, can you give me a random stock question? It gives me, what factors should investors consider when evaluating the long-term potential of a stock? Great question indeed. I'll just write it out here and there. What factors should investors consider evaluating the long-term potential of a company's stock? The factors, how well the company outpaces the market. That's always important. And we'll dive into that one in a little bit. The predictability, ability of determining the EPS or earnings per share. Free cash flow is a big one. And just the overall health and direction of a company. So basically, if it's a new franchise or a new company that's building new locations, I would like to know, how many locations this year are they going to add on? If it's a solid growth company, I want to know things like how many employees do they intend to hire this year? So that type of thing. So if it's a company that I want to invest in, I want to know where they're going to be in 5-10 years from now. And I don't think about tomorrow's profitability, I think long term. And then the overall question I, of course, ask is, how does this company impact human lives? If it's Tesla, you're developing an electric car, and that's going to save me money at the gas station. So things like that. So how impactful, if it's something to do with medical, maybe it prolongs my life by detecting cancer at an early stage. So those type of things. Great. Okay, let's go back and ask Chatgdp the next question. How do dividends impact the overall return investment for a stock? And what factors should investors consider when assessing a company's dividend paying potential? Great question again. Really glad I did this exercise. Okay, well, the dividends are a cost to a company. Therefore, it's very important. It's very important not to choose a company just based on dividend. There are some companies in the search that we did a couple weeks ago. There was a company, believe it or not, they had a 20% dividend, and this is very bad. Not only is it an extremely high dividend, and not many companies can keep up with 28%. Then the question is, how do they keep increasing it from there? As an investor, I'm not buying for tomorrow. I'm buying for next year, next 5 years, next 10 years. Therefore, you have to have an expanding free cash flow to afford increasing dividend payments. If you have 28%, the odds of it keeping up that dividend higher and higher every year for 5-10 years is not very likely. And my guess is that in the next couple of quarters, either the company goes out of business or they have to take away their dividend altogether. So it's very important to pick a stock that gives a dividend, but it has to be comparable to the free cash flow and the rate that they're expanding. A conservative number that I like to stay is 1 to 3%. And then let's see what the other part of that, what factors investors consider assessing companies' dividend payment. And that's just it, just the free cash flow, because that's how they pay the dividend, is by their free cash. And we'll get into some of these in just a second. We'll dive deeper. Let's ask this the third question. What are some key indicators or financial metrics that investors often analyze when conducting fundamental analysis of a company's stock? Great question. Okay. So some key indicators, financial metrics. So general ones would be assets versus liabilities. You always want your assets to be double the liabilities of a company. The other thing is your net income. You always want net income to be at least 30% or more from total enterprise value. Those are a couple key metrics that I go by. Other than that, the earnings per share, I like to be, if it's a well-known brand, a big powerhouse brand, I like the EPS to be 15% increase year over year. I like to also, like cash flow to increase year over year. If it's a younger company, then I expect more. I would like more like 30% increase year over year. Great question. Okay, let's ask it the fourth question. How might geopolitical events impact global stock markets? And what considerations should investors keep in mind when navigating such situations? I'm not really into politics or like media. So my research, I just go company by company basis. I don't know. I wish they were more specific as to what they were discussing. But I mean, can politics enter the playing field? Absolutely. I'm not saying that it wouldn't, but I'm more into the company analysis and where the company is going. And keep in mind, if it's political, these things are usually short term. I'm a long-term investor, so it usually might impact some things on the short term, but not in the long term. So I don't feel like that would be of great significance. Okay, let's see what else we come up with. What are potential advantages and risks associated with investing in emerging market stocks compared to more established and developed markets? What are potential advantages and risks associated with investing in emerging market stocks? I guess we'll just find out what the emergency market stocks they're referring to currently. I guess I'm just not too familiar with these terms. Emerging market stocks and stocks company based in developing countries that have high growth potential. Some examples of emerging market stocks and Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Banco, Mexico, Alibaba. Yes, I'm familiar with Alibaba. Companies based in. Okay, so let's go back to the question. What are the potential advantages and risks associated with investing? Well, there's a lot of risks when you don't know what you're investing. I guess that's how it boils down to. So like Alibaba, they were on the watch list, and we did rank it and grade it based on the company's performance. And again, I just go back to the basics of the company. What's the profitability of the company? What is the marketability? Meaning, what impact will it have on human lives going forward? Are my main things. So those are the ones that I look into, and I feel like, it could be any country. We have looked at other companies, on our list. We have a company in Chile that does mining for minerals and things like that. So I'm just into profits and getting a company that can perform and produce solid earnings quarter after quarter, year after year. And when you have the fundamentals in place, it's going to work itself out. So these questions are kind of irrelevant to the bigger picture, in my opinion. Other than that, the first question was really good, and I'd like just to go with a deeper dive into that. Company can outpace the market, so I use my friend Big Charts for that to determine that. So we go into Apple. In 2 years, you can see Apple just has outpaced the market a little bit, and we'll take it 10 years. They really have crushed the market well. So this is what I look at when using a company that I just find on FinViz, or something a friend might mention to me, or maybe he gets a new job somewhere and I want to check it out. I'll bring the company up and just see how well it does against the market. And this is a big factor. Why? Because you want to buy low and sell high. So once you buy a company, if the company starts trending under the market, all the other people in the stock market, they will sell that position and either go into the market itself or find a company that does beat the market. So that's why it's so important to continually to outpace the market. You can see Apple has been dominant over the last 10 years, and this black line is always above the market. So your dollars are never worried. They're always happy, and you have a bright future. And why not? If you lost your phone, you'd be in a world of hurt. Therefore, it impacts your life in a great deal. So when you stick with these solid fundamentals, you'll be a great investor. Thanks for tuning in for today's episode. Tomorrow, we will go and make some calls on our hot list. I have said that a couple of days. I tried for today's video. It just didn't turn out well. So we'll try again for tomorrow, and I'll wrap up today's session. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Bye.